What if the human mind is not the limit, but the beginning? What if the laws we take as absolute are merely agreements? And some people, knowingly or unknowingly, break them. Across the globe, from dusty monasteries to clinical laboratories, from tribal rituals to university halls, there are stories, documented, repeated, analyzed, that challenge our understanding of reality. A man in India, observed by medical researchers, goes days without food or water, claiming his energy comes from within. A child in Russia solves complex equations without ever attending school. A monk in Tibet raises his body temperature during meditation in freezing temperatures, defying thermodynamic expectations. These are not just tales whispered by mystics. They are reports, some from peer-reviewed journals, others from classified files now public, hinting at capacities that modern science is only beginning to glimpse. And yet, most of us dismiss these phenomena as anomalies, hoaxes, or delusions. The boundaries of human potential are fiercely guarded, not just by skeptics, but by the comfort of what we think we know. But what if these outliers aren't exceptions? What if they are clues? If this resonates with you, write this phrase in the comments: I am more than I have been taught. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Legends of Soul, for more investigations into consciousness, ancient wisdom, and the frontier of human potential. In ancient yogic texts, superhuman abilities, called siddhis, are described not as miracles, but as outcomes of deep inner mastery. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras list levitation, clairvoyance, and even the ability to manipulate time as byproducts of a concentrated mind. These ideas were long regarded as spiritual metaphors or symbolic teachings, yet today, certain patterns begin to emerge between these ancient descriptions and modern anomalies. It raises the question, where does myth end and science begin? The CIA's declassified Stargate program explored remote viewing, training individuals to perceive distant locations and hidden objects through non-physical means. What began as a fringe experiment in psychic phenomena became a 20-year intelligence initiative. Some participants reportedly achieved statistically significant results, outperforming chance even under double-blind conditions. The implications disturbed both skeptics and believers. Were these individuals accessing something beyond the five senses? In the field of neuroscience, researchers have begun studying savant syndrome, where individuals possess extraordinary abilities, such as instant mathematical computation or photographic memory, despite cognitive impairments in other areas. Some cases emerge suddenly after a head injury or trauma. Known as acquired savant syndrome, this suggests that the brain may house dormant capacities unlocked under unusual conditions. Could it be that every human carries hidden modules of perception waiting to be activated? This is where modern psychology begins to intersect with ancient insight. Carl Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, a deep reservoir of shared memory and potential. He believed that archetypes and visions often labeled as hallucinations could in fact be expressions of deeper psychic truths. Today, some cognitive scientists are revisiting these ideas, exploring whether consciousness might be non-local, distributed beyond the brain, like a field rather than a circuit. Studies in meditation and mindfulness show profound effects on brain structure. Long-term practitioners exhibit changes in the default mode network, regions associated with self-referential thought. Some show increased gamma wave activity linked to heightened awareness. These are not mystical claims, they are peer-reviewed findings. The human brain is not static. It is plastic, adaptable, and deeply sensitive to internal focus. Could it be that intense mental discipline unlocks latent abilities, ones we barely comprehend? Even more mysterious are spontaneous cases of telepathy reported between twins, or sudden intuitive knowledge in crisis situations. The phenomenon known as shared pain has been documented in hospitals, where family members experience physical discomfort at the exact moment a relative undergoes trauma, despite being miles away. These experiences are difficult to study, often anecdotal, and yet they persist across cultures and histories. Scientific reductionism has brought immense clarity and progress, but it has also, perhaps unintentionally, dismissed the reality of inner life as mere noise. What if we took consciousness seriously, not just as an epiphenomenon of the brain, but as a force in itself? Quantum physicist David Bohm proposed that consciousness and matter are two aspects of a deeper order, which he called the implicate. In this model, thought can interact with the fabric of reality, not metaphorically, but literally. Cognitive psychologist Dean Radin has spent decades studying phenomena like precognition and mind-matter interaction. His experiments, often replicated, show subtle but statistically significant effects. One example involves random number generators, machines designed to produce unpredictable results. When groups focus their attention, measurable deviations occur. The effect is small, but consistent. What if intention itself carries a measurable influence on probability? As we gather these threads, from ancient scriptures and modern labs, from tribal rituals to military experiments, a larger picture begins to emerge. The human being is not merely a biological machine, but a layered, dynamic intelligence. What we call superpowers may simply be natural abilities that have been suppressed by culture, neglected by education, and forgotten by time. And yet, these capacities do not emerge easily. They are not tricks. They are not shortcuts. They require silence, focus, inner clarity. The same qualities cultivated by sages, monks, and seekers for thousands of years. Perhaps what we call superhuman is, in truth, supremely human. To truly understand these abilities, we must be willing to explore the unknown not only out there, but in here, in the structures of the mind, the layers of perception, and the power of consciousness itself. The investigation is global, but the answer may lie within. In Japan, researchers at the University of Tokyo conducted studies on chi energy, or kai as it's known in Japanese tradition. While mainstream science has yet to fully explain the phenomenon, certain subjects displayed the ability to influence temperature or produce measurable biofields through focused breathing and visualization. These effects were subtle, but repeatable. The traditional martial arts masters who participated insisted that qi is not a power, but a state of harmony, an alignment of body, breath, and mind. Once again, the extraordinary is cloaked in the ordinary, waiting to be understood. In South America, Amazonian shamans describe the world as alive with spirits, energies, and layers of perception that open only through sacred plants, songs, and trance. What sounds like mythology gains depth when examined through the lens of neurochemistry. Substances like DMT and ayahuasca, used in ritual context, unlock vivid states of consciousness, often accompanied by precise visions, knowledge, or healing insights. How can altered states produce meaningful information? Is it the brain hallucinating or tuning in? Western medicine has begun to explore this frontier. At institutions like Johns Hopkins and Imperial College London, clinical trials with psychedelics show that under controlled settings, these substances can catalyze profound psychological transformation. Patients report encounters with intelligence, light, and clarity beyond language. Many come back saying, "It felt more real than reality." Could it be that human perception is but a narrow filter, and that certain conditions allow us to glimpse a broader spectrum? And what of those who display abilities without any external catalyst? In China, Qigong masters are said to manipulate energy at a distance, accelerating healing, affecting plant growth, or warming objects with the mind. Though often dismissed as pseudoscience, there are labs, such as the China Institute of Atomic Energy, that have published curious results on these interactions. The experiments are difficult to replicate, but they raise a deeper question. What is the role of consciousness in matter? Is observation passive or creative? In 1973, astronaut Edgar Mitchell returned from space and described a spontaneous mystical experience while looking at Earth. He felt an overwhelming sense of unity with all life, an experience that led him to found the Institute of Noetic Sciences, devoted to studying consciousness, intuition, and subtle phenomena. His conviction was clear. We are more than our biology. Mitchell believed that space exploration was just the beginning, that the next great frontier was inner space. Psychological research into flow states supports the idea that humans can access heightened perception and performance under specific mental conditions. Athletes, musicians, and creatives describe moments where action becomes effortless, time dilates, and insight flows unbidden. These states are not random. They correlate with neurochemical shifts, reduced prefrontal activity, and deep focus. What if the superpowers of intuition, speed, and grace are simply the result of inner alignment? Yet even in these cases, the individual must prepare through discipline, intention, and surrender. Supernormal potential does not arise from ego, but from the dissolution of ego. The more one tries to dominate the process, the more elusive it becomes. This is echoed in traditions worldwide. The Tao does not flow where there is grasping. The yogi does not seek power, but presence. And in presence, power becomes possible. The human story has always carried whispers of something greater, visions, miracles, transformations. In sacred texts, heroes are not those who acquire strength, but those who awaken it. The deeper message is not that some are chosen, but that all are capable. The ability to perceive, heal, Know or create beyond limitation is not reserved for the few. It is the inheritance of the many, but it must be remembered. It must be earned through inner work. The danger lies not in believing too much, but in believing blindly. Many are seduced by illusion, charlatans, fantasies, or ego-driven quests. True superhuman capacity is not about spectacle. It is about responsibility, integrity, a quiet clarity that sees through performance and returns again and again to truth. The greatest abilities often hide in the most unassuming people, not in fame, but in depth, not in noise, but in silence. As we investigate the evidence for superpowers across cultures, disciplines, and dimensions, one truth emerges. We have barely scratched the surface of what it means to be human. The mind is not the ceiling, but the key. The body is not a prison, but a bridge. And consciousness is not a byproduct. It is the mystery at the center of it all. So where do we go from here? Not toward sensationalism, but toward understanding. Not chasing the impossible, but exploring the infinite. The global investigation continues. In labs, in temples, in the silent moments of reflection where something stirs. A question, a vision, a knowing. If this message has touched something within you, take a moment to support this journey. Like this video so others can find it. Subscribe to our channel, Legends of Soul, for deeper dives into the mysteries of consciousness, spiritual science, and ancient truths. And in the comments, write this phrase: "My potential is beyond the known." Because maybe, just maybe, you're not here to fit the mold. You're here to break it.